Okay. Good morning and welcome. I would like to welcome all attending and those watching remotely to this meeting of the New York State Unemployment Insurance Appeal Board. This is our second meeting of 2023, and we are located today at the board's headquarters in Menands, New York. I wish to thank all those attending and those watching this meeting for your interest in the operations and management of the board. We are an adjudicative body with jurisdiction over disputes regarding eligibility and payments concerning New York State unemployment insurance. Thank you for your continued interest in this consequential work. My name is Geraldine Riley, and I'm the chair of the New York State Unemployment Insurance Appeal Board. This meeting has been noticed, the draft agenda has been published, the minutes from the previous January 18th, 2023 meeting have been circulated to the members, and the public has been invited to observe in real time. This meeting is being recorded and will be available along with the minutes on our website, uiappeals.ny.gov. I would like to begin this meeting by expressing my thanks to all of those who have supported the work of the board in addressing the many challenges that we face. I would like to thank the staff and leadership of all of our offices, and of course, and primarily, I would like to thank my colleagues on the board for their work, encouragement, and support. For this meeting, I would like to again acknowledge the myriad technological innovations which this year will bring. You will hear more about these exciting projects during the executive presentations, but I can assure you that 2023 will be a year of technological advance, which will change many aspects of how we do our work, all in the interest of serving our customers and our employees in a smarter and better way. Again, it is my hope that this consistent schedule of board meetings presents a board that is proactive and accessible, and a board which aggressively addresses the 21st century challenges that we face or that we anticipate, and that we address those tasks with optimism and confidence in the skill and effort of our many talented employees. Each board member and each staff member is serious and interested, industrious and engaged in their approach to the important work that we do. I sincerely thank them for that. I want to acknowledge and thank our Chief Administrative Law Judge, Tracy Covey, who is based in Syracuse, but who's here today in Menands, and who has worked tirelessly to advance the board in our mission. Tracy assumed this role in a time of pandemic crisis and has led the board judiciously and so well since then. I want to welcome Lee Brown, our new executive director, who is with us today in Menands. Lee comes to us from OGS and has the demonstrated leadership qualities which we so value. Welcome, Lee.
Thank you.
And I wish to thank Principal ALJ for Appeals Christopher Tate, who is with me today here in Menands, for his work in these very challenging times. I want to thank Melissa Souza, who is taking minutes, and Caitlin Smith and Amy Higbee, who will be assisting with their technology today. Before the call to order, I would like to remind board members and staff that the public that our next public meeting of the board will be held Wednesday, July 19th, 2023. You can make a note of that. Thank you. And I'm now calling this meeting to order. Our first order of business is a roll call of attendees by Executive Director Brown.
Thank you, Chair Riley. I will first note you are in attendance in Menands and will take the remainder of the roll call. When I say your name, please say you're present and note your present location that is accessible to the public. Board Member Randall Douglas.
Present, Menands.
Board Member June O'Neill.
Present from beautiful downtown Ogdensburg.
Board Member Marilyn O'Mara.
Present.
Thank you. Chair Riley, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Welcome to this board meeting. Our next order of business is to review and adopt the draft agenda for today's meeting. Could you please take a minute to read the agenda, which has been circulated and published? Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Randy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, June. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, the agenda has been unanimously adopted. We turn now to the adopted agenda, and our next order of business is the reading and adoption of the minutes from our January 18th, 2023 meeting.
Madam Chair, I move that we waive the reading of the minutes and adopt them into the record as written.
Thank you, Randy. There is a motion. Is there a second to waive the reading of the minutes and adopt them?
Second,
Thank you, June. All in favor of the motion to waive the reading of the minutes and adopt them, please signify by saying aye.
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 Hearing no, is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion to waive the reading and adopt the minutes into the record has been passed. We now turn to the next order of business, which is the Executive Director's Report. That will be delivered by Executive Director Lee Brown.
Good morning. Lee Brown, I again want to introduce myself to you as an Executive Director of the Unemployment Insurance Appeal Board. I know UIAB has worked through significant change over the past 3 years, and I'm very excited to be here to work through the significant changes we see in the next 3 years. And I'm excited to work through the post-coronavirus pandemic changes. During my short time at UIAB, I'm grateful and very impressed with the support and leadership of Jerry Riley, our board chair, Tracy Covey, our chief administrative law judge, the team of principal administrative law judges, the colleges, including Chris, Mark, and Justin, and Janet, our UIAB manager. I'm excited to step into the execution of long-awaited technology projects. In January, you received a thorough report on the technology systems and how they'll modernize UIAB, our processes and procedures, and the service we provide. To update you on our progress, the virtual hearing system is on track to go live summer 2023. We anticipate the participant experience to meet our high expectations. The Unemployment Insurance System Improvement Modernization, the UISIM, has reset the projection of the anticipated go-live date from November 2023 to spring 2024. The adjustment to the project timeline has not affected the momentum of the project. UIAB subject matter experts, our SMEs, have continued to assist with designing, reviewing, and finalizing test cases. These test cases cover all processes UIAB staff members will use the system for and all possible scenarios that could occur. One of the appeals user manuals, the Appeals Common, was developed to detail the shared processes between UIAB, adjudication services offices, and liability and determination appeals. UIAB SMEs and other project team members thoroughly reviewed the user manual over the past few weeks. The training team addressed all reviewed comments and has been conditionally improved by project leadership. In the meantime, other user manuals for UIAB staff members are planned. Lastly, the New York State Department of Labor approved UIAB to hire 2 full-time employees as designated testers and trainers to support the spring 2024 go live goal. In staffing news, our judicial and administrative staffing level is presently at 111 employees. We recently hired 3 administrative law judges on March 16th and have 4 additional ALJ positions we are interviewing for, 2 in Manans, 1 in Syracuse, 1 in Buffalo. We also have 4 administrative positions that will be posted soon. Attrition continues as staff retires and moves to other agencies. Understanding our current workforce, we know we are not alone in facing unprecedented challenges in finding skilled employees to fill our vacancies. America is facing a worker shortage. There are too many open jobs without people to fill them. Currently, New York shows a less severe crisis. Planning is imperative. Tracy, Janet, Department of Labor, and I are working together to maximize DOL job fairs, identify opportunities to promote continuous recruitment for our ALJs, and explore other potential resources. Moving on to our statistics, despite our best efforts, we are still not in compliance with US DOL acceptable level of performance markers. The validated data as of March 2023 shows that the lower authority average case age was 39.04 days, above the 30-day acceptable level of performance. While DOL is transmitting a higher percentage of cases to us within 10 days, unfortunately, our current staffing levels make quick calendaring of inventory a challenge. We are also not meeting compliance standards with 30 and 45-day time lapse markers. In the first quarter of 2023, approximately 15% of the cases were decided within 30 days and 41% of the cases were decided within 45 days. On a positive note, we are now in compliance with US DOL acceptance level performance standards for the higher authority. Validated data for March 2023 shows that our average case age was 24.77 days, far below the 40-day US DOL marker. The case age and overall inventory at higher authority have been decreasing quickly due to all your hard work. So thank you all very much. I welcome feedback regarding our Week at a Glance weekly newsletter to our team and board members. Week at a Glance includes information on the following topics to keep employees up to date and engaged: our ALJ news, administrative news, upcoming events, tech and telecommuting tips, Kudos Corner, UISIM news, Recipe Corner, and a monthly feature with April is National Poetry Month. In April, I also started the monthly Director's Update. I hope you enjoy both newsletters. I'm always open to suggestions or ideas if you want more information. That concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lee. Very informative. I have to say that you've made a very good impression in your first weeks here, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on Lee's report?
I will make the motion to accept it, but I'd also like to say she's been tremendous in her first few weeks here. Very easy to work with, very helpful, and the information provided is always great information to share amongst staff and to have some fun with it too. So thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you for your comments, Randy, and thank you for your motion to accept the director's report. Is there a second to accept the director's report and incorporate it into the record?
Second.
Thank you, Marilyn. Now, all in favor of accepting the report and incorporating it, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing no opposition, the report is accepted and incorporated into the record. Our next order of business is the Chief ALJ's report to be delivered by Chief ALJ Tracy Covey.
Good morning, everyone. First, I would like to join in welcoming our new Executive Director, Leanne Brown. She has already brought herself up to speed with our various projects, is deftly learning our operations, and brings a welcome new perspective to our management team. I would also like to thank Chair Riley for her continued support and assistance as we go through this important transition. It has been invaluable to me on both a personal and professional level. And to all of the board members, it has been a pleasure getting to know each of you a little better in my role as Executive Director over the last 3 years. And while I'm excited to dive back into things on the legal side as the Chief Judge, please know that I'm still available to each of you if you have any questions or if you want to discuss cases or if you want to just talk about the Buffalo Bills. Now, turning to my report, I'm pleased to have the opportunity to update you today on developments regarding the judicial staff since our last board meeting. I will begin with the results of the most recent federal quarterly review involving lower authority cases decided in the fourth quarter of 2022. I'm proud to report that we continue our trend of exceptional performance. Our administrative law judge's average grade was 98.53, based on the 40 randomly selected cases that were scored according to the 31 federal quality criteria. All of the cases achieved the U.S. Department of Labor's passing score of 85% or higher, and 26 of these hearings had a perfect score of 100. Based on the number of appeals and decisions issued last year, going forward, we are now only required to audit 20 FQR cases per quarter. From a longer range perspective, over the last 3 years, of the 280 cases that have been scored, only one did not achieve a passing grade, and our overall average score for the last 10 quarters has been an impressive 97.9. This credit goes to our hearing judges across the state who produce these very high scores, and to our supervisory and training teams who consistently reinforce the federal criteria and our best practices with the judicial staff. We are currently conducting audits of the first quarter of 2023, and I will report on those at the next board meeting. We also continue our own rigorous internal quality assurance program. I regularly meet with our skilled team of principal administrative law judges, including Chris Tate, Mark Sokolowski, and Justin Denton, as well as our training coordinator, Allison Ferrara, to refine our hearing procedures. We also clarify and streamline requirements when needed, and our due process error requiring a remedy rate has only been averaging approximately 3.5% over the last 3 quarters. This very low rate is yet another example of the great work being done by the judges at the UIAB. In higher authority news, due to the hard work of all of our board members and the appeal judges, we have the lowest inventory that we have had since February 2021 and regularly mail over 100 decisions a week. Great job, guys. Now, turning to our judicial staffing, as Lee mentioned, we have lost several judges due to retirements and other opportunities. At the end of this month, Susan Aaron, who you all know through her work with the higher authority, will retire after over 15 years with the board. Tom Marlowe, a hearing ALJ in the White Plains office, is also retiring after 10 years with the board. We've been actively recruiting and trying to engage in succession planning, as we know we will be experiencing additional retirements in the upcoming year. To that end, 2 ALJs, Brenna Sharp in Manans and Shamori Corinthian in Brooklyn, are completing their 1-year probationary period at the beginning of next week. And we hired a class of 3 in March, DJ Cornelius and Lisa Robertson in Manans, and IJ Aduro Aisi in Brooklyn, and are actively recruiting for other open ALJ positions in Syracuse, Manans, and in Buffalo. We plan to engage in further outreach to New York law schools and have asked DOL to distribute a pamphlet on how to become an ALJ at upcoming job fairs. Now, the new ALJ class that we just hired is currently participating in our intensive new hire training session, and they have been over the last 4 weeks. Based on the feedback we've received from the last 3 classes, we switched things up a bit this time around, and we've had the judges hold misconduct hearings observed by their supervisors after basic training on due process and the substantive law of misconduct. Although there were some nerves involved in that as they held their first hearings only 3 weeks in, they all did a great job. They then jumped back into the virtual classroom, learned the law on voluntary quit and additional complex hearing procedures, and they're just holding their first VQ hearings this week. We are hopeful that this hands-on approach gives the judges a better understanding early on of how hearings are held, and that they will be able to draw on these experiences as they progress throughout their first year. I'm also very excited to announce that we have started a review of the bench manual so we can publish a second edition detailing changes in the law and updates to cited case law. As many of you know, I have been significantly involved in the bench manual since its inception, and am thrilled to be able to focus on these efforts again. Thanks go out to Senior ALJ Carol Procopio and ALJ Alex Slicko, both in Brooklyn, who have submitted an update to Part 2, Chapter 1 on voluntary quit, and to Will Friedman, an ALJ in Rochester, who submitted a draft of a work search chapter, both of which are currently under review. We have not developed a timeline for publication yet of these chapters or for the second edition of the bench manual in general, but we are very hopeful that it will be sometime this year. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present on this information to you today, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, Tracy. Are there any comments on Chief ALJ Covey's report? If hearing none, I do want to say that the quality that you've been able to instill in the work product here is really remarkable, Tracy, and it's a testament to your skill and your leadership. And of course, in the higher authority, Chris as well. It's been just establishing that there is nothing less than excellence as an expectation here. And I think that the board, speaking for the board, we cannot be more grateful. So many thanks for that. And the numbers speak for themselves, but I think you also definitely deserve accolades. So many thanks for that.
Thanks, Jerry.
You're welcome. Now, is there a motion to accept the Chief Judge's report?
Be glad to move that, and again, I'd like to say that Tracy has been remarkable. The administration staff that we have currently, nothing against the previous staff, we had wonderful staff, but the way they work together and communicate and share things, and you can tell it's very professional, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and thank the both of you and Chris for all the work you've done to make this a family, so thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you for your remarks and for the motion. So there is a motion to accept it. Is there a second?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, the Chief Judge's report has been moved and has been accepted into the record. Now we turn to the Principal ALJ for Appeals report, which will be delivered by Principal ALJ Chris Tate.
Thank you, Chair Riley. I'd like to report on several cases that were handed down by the Appellate Division in the first quarter of 2023. The first is matter of Brown that was decided on February 9th, and the site is 213 Appellate Division 3rd, 1528. In this case, the court affirmed the board's decision holding claimant as an employee of S&S, a dental practice, which was purchased from claimant in 2009. Following its purchase, S&S entered into a provider agreement with claimant, and he continued providing dental services for S&S. While the agreement identified him as an independent contractor, claimant provided his services using an office, staff, and supplies, including dental instruments that S&S provided to him. And claimant was required to provide the services on S&S's premises. S&S required claimant to work at least 2 8-hour shifts per week and required claimant to obtain consent before working additional days each week. S&S managed the scheduling of appointments for patients that claimant would see, and if a patient needed to reschedule an appointment, he or she would contact S&S directly. S&S also managed the direct billing of and collections from patients and established fees that the patients were required to pay. S&S handled any patient complaints regarding claimant's work, required him to correct faulty treatments when necessary, and manage billing disputes. Citing matter of Tarbill at 167 Appellate Division 2nd, 640, the court found that substantial evidence supported the conclusion that S&S retained sufficient overall control over important aspects of the work of claimant to be considered his employer. The second case is matter of Larilio. That too was decided on February 9th, and the site is 213 Appellate Division 3rd, 1129. In that case, the court affirmed the board's decision that claimant was ineligible to receive benefits because he received a pension and charging him a recoverable overpayment of state benefits and federal FPUC, PEUC, and LWA benefits. Between April 2020 and August 2020, claimant received regular and federal benefits. In September of 2020, claimant elected to collect his pension, which was fully funded by contributions from participating employers. In December of 2020, claimant received a lump sum pension check, which included retroactive pension payments from April of 2020 through December of 2020. The court found that claimant was ineligible for benefits as there was no dispute that the prorated weekly pension amount retroactive to April 2020 exceeded claimant's unemployment insurance benefit rate, which triggered the statutory reduction under Labor Law Section 600 and reduced his rate to 0. The court noted that to the extent that claimant asserted that he was given this information by representatives of the department and therefore should not be charged with a recoverable overpayment of benefits, the conditional payment of unemployment benefits prior to verification of the details of the claimant's pension is subject to a review and recoverability of an overpayment, even in instances where claimant has made the appropriate disclosures. The court cited to a matter of Johnson at 210 AD 3rd 1260. The court also noted that as he was eligible to receive unemployment insurance benefits, which was a prerequisite to procuring the federal benefits, the federal benefits were also recoverable. The court also noted that there was a separate process for submitting applications for requesting a waiver of benefits, which were made in error and or through no fault of the claimant. The third case is a matter of Overacker, and that was decided on February 16th, and the site is 213 Appellate Division 3rd, 1127. The court affirmed the board's decisions holding that claimant was ineligible to receive benefits because she received a reasonable assurance of continued employment and holding that she was ineligible to receive pandemic unemployment assistance benefits or PUA benefits. Here, the claimant worked as a bus driver for a public school district for over 30 years. Starting March 16th of 2020, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, claimant was not required to work, but continued to receive a regular salary for the remainder of the 2019 to 2020 school year, ending on June 19th of 2020. On June the 3rd, 2020, claimant received a letter from the district informing her that it wished to retain her in the same position during the 2020-2021 school year, which she signed and returned to the district. The court noted that despite the uncertainties as to the method of the instruction for the 2020 to 2021 school year due to the ongoing pandemic, the letter sent by the district affirmed that claimant would be employed for the 2020 to 2021 school year and did not condition claimant's further employment on the utilization of any specific instructional method. In view of the letter, the continued applicability of the collective bargaining agreement, as well as testimony concerning claimant's seniority and the continued need for busing, the court found that substantial evidence supported the board's finding that the district provided the claimant with a reasonable assurance of continued employment. The court also noted that to be eligible for pool benefits under the CARES Act, a covered individual must not be eligible for any other unemployment benefits and must certify that they are otherwise able to work and available for work within the meaning of applicable state law, but are unemployed or unable to work as a result of specific statutorily enumerated factors. Although claimant was ineligible for regular compensation benefits or extended benefits, thereby satisfying the first requirement, this provision presupposes that a claimant has a place of employment, removing from its scope individuals such as the claimant who were not working at the time. Citing matter of Chin at 211 Appellate Division 3rd, 1263, the court found that as claimant sought PUA benefits for the period between academic years outside her contract, substantial evidence supported the board's finding that she was ineligible for such benefits. And finally, matter of Janet King of New York and Buffalo was decided on March 9th, and cited is 2023 New York Active Lexus 1210. The court affirmed two board decisions holding that franchisees were employees of Janet King, a seller of commercial cleaning and janitorial franchises. Franchisees were subject to a criminal background check and were required to successfully complete mandatory training, during which they were provided various manuals outlining Janny's policies, procedures, and operational standards, and were instructed regarding the necessary equipment and supplies required. In addition to providing franchisees with an advertising package, including business cards, brochures, and other promotional materials, Janny furnished the franchisees with initial client accounts, and Janny established the billing rates for those accounts, as well as any other accounts that it procured for the franchisees. Franchisees were required to maintain certain types of insurance and to list Janny as an additional insured, and were precluded both during the term of the franchise agreement and for a 2-year period following the termination thereof from engaging in a competing commercial cleaning business. While on a client's premises, the franchisees and their employees must wear a t-shirt and name tag bearing Janny's logo, and Janny handled all the billing and collection matters for the franchisees. Janny also reserved the right to inspect the franchisees' work for quality control purposes, audit the franchisees' records, suspend, transfer, or cancel the franchisees' accounts, handle customer complaints, and/or review and approve any promotional material developed by the franchisees. Citing matter of Cologne at 182 Appellate Division 3rd, 954, the court found that substantial evidence supported the board's decisions. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chris. Are there any comments regarding the report from the principal ALJ for appeals? I certainly do want to acknowledge the depth and the complexity of all of these cases, and we're very appreciative, Chris, for your explanation of the legal issues that you have faced every day, that our staff faces every day. And it's so heartening to see that all of our decisions in this selection were affirmed by the court. I think, again, it speaks to the legal excellence that that our leadership insists on, and sees every day in the work that we do. So thank you for that report. Is there a motion to accept the report and incorporate it into the record?
Madam Chair, I'll move that, and I know I've been very talkative of this meeting, but I also want to thank Chris. Chris, every time I have a legal question, I go to Chris and it's answered within minutes, and if he doesn't know it off the top of his head, which he normally does, he researches it and gets back to me within an hour, and even on weekends. So, Chris, we're very lucky to have you. Thank you.
We are. Thank you for your comments. So there is a motion. Is there a second to the motion to accept the record?
Second,
Thank you, June. All in favor of accepting the report from Principal ALJ Tate for Appeals, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any oppositions? Hearing none. The report has been incorporated into the record. The motion has passed. We now turn to our agenda, and if there is any new business or other business that we should take note of, please let me know. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Marilyn. Is there a second?
second,
Thank you, Randy. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Is there any opposition? No, hearing none, the motion carries, and this board session is adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.